Hey everybody, let's talk about the past tense and irregular verbs. Let me give you a short introduction. There are more than 100 irregular past tense verbs in English. Trying to memorize all of them one by one is a very big job. Have you seen lists like this on the internet? You can find many different ones at many different websites. There's also a list of irregular verbs in the back of your textbook. And I have to be honest, when I look at a list like this with so many things on it, it feels a little overwhelming. It feels a little depressing. So you don't have to learn all of the verbs at once. You should study a few new verbs each semester. And by the time that you finish ELW 905, you should know 30 to 35 irregular verbs. We're going to start with a list of 25, and these words come from the movie we're watching, Harriet. Here they are. Be, bring, come, catch, find. Give, get, go, have, hit. Know, lead, let, lose, make. Run, say, see, sleep, think. Throw, tell, take, wake up, and write. So you probably already know some of these words. So our job is to review the ones that you learned before and to learn a few new ones. Now, there are some common patterns. One thing that can help you remember these verbs is to know the common patterns or groups. The first past tense verb you should know is be, and be is kind of special because it has two forms in the past. Was is the past of am and is, and were is the past of are. The next group of verbs is verbs that make a change in the vowel sound to form the past tense. So when I go from come to came, I change from the O to the A. That's just a change in the vowel sound. Or when I go from find to found, again, I'm just changing the vowel sound in the middle of the word. The same thing for give, gave, get, got, lead, led, etc. So that's quite interesting to me. The next group of verbs that you see are verbs that have a D or T ending, which is not the regular ED. For example, when I move from have to had, that D at the end of had is kind of a symbol of the past tense, but it's not forming the past tense in the normal way of just adding the letter D. So it's actually changing the V to a D. Here there's a change in a consonant. Here they've added the letter T on the end. So these are words that they are a little bit like regular verbs because they end with that D or T sound. Another group is this crazy group that ends with O-U-G-H-T. That's how we get bring, brought, catch, caught, and think, thought. And then finally, there are some verbs where there is no change between the base form and the past. And this is where we see things like hit, or let. Let, usually these words end in the letter T, and they're pretty short. So some students like to study the words that are similar all in a group together, and that's definitely a possible strategy you could use as you try to learn these. Now, many of the past tense forms are made with changes in the vowel sounds here. So you can see this list is longer than any of the other lists. For that reason, it's important to focus on pronunciation for irregular verbs. So in order to make the past tense correctly, you have to know, the difference in the pronunciation between these vowels. And that's a little bit hard. In this class, we will use these symbols below to mark some of the common vowels in English. So when I have one letter that has more than one sound, I'm going to put a little mark on it so that you can see which sounds are the same and which sounds are different. That may help you start to hear the sound that you need to make. So the letter A has A as in hat, A as in day, ah as in car, as in dollar. The letter E has as in bed, E as in we, as in letter. The letter I has I as in big, I as in time, as in first. For the letter O, we actually have 5 different sounds you should know. Ah as in hot, O as in home, oo as in food. And for this oo, you can see the tiny circle on the top. That's just a little reminder to put your mouth or to put your lips in a circle. That will automatically make the oo sound. Oo as in food. Then this one with 2 dots sounds like as in good. And finally, as in doctor. And to finish up here, the letter U has as in fun, U as in computer, oo as in student, and this with the little circle on the top is the same sound as this one with the circle. So oo, food, oo, student. We have as in put, and this with the 2 dots, these are both the same. As in good, or as in put. And the last one is as in hurt. And anytime you see this little hat on the top, for me in my class, that means that the R is in control of the letter. All of these combinations sound the same. So and those are our common vowels. So when you look in the pages that are coming later on Canvas, you will see the list of the words, and every single base form and past tense verb has its vowels marked to help you study. Okay, I have some advice for you as you are studying. Study tip number 1. Focus on a small number of verbs at one time. So my philosophy is that slow and steady wins the race. For 1 week, try to learn 3 to 5 new past tense verbs. The next week, you can review your old words, review the ones that you know, and try to learn 3 to 5 new ones. So learning the past tense is usually a process that takes time, and just learn a small number of verbs at one time. Study tip number 2, practice those verbs in a story. So the pictures of the story in your head will help you remember that word, will help you remember the sounds if you can connect the sound to the picture. So write and tell stories about Harriet Tubman. Write and tell stories about your own life, your own experiences. And think about other stories where you could use those verbs that you are trying to memorize and practice. Okay, look for opportunities to use those verbs. And study tip number 3, you can see here these students have a card. There's something on the front, and we can also see writing on the back. I recommend that you use flashcards. It's an old-fashioned strategy, but it's survived the test of time because it works. So please write the base form on the front of the card, write the past tense and the past participle on the back, and then study in different ways. Sometimes you should mix up a lot of old verbs like easy ones, with 3 to 5 new verbs that you're trying to add to your memory. And sometimes just spend your time on the verbs that are new or hard for you. That's the beauty of cards, that you can sort of make groups. You can separate the easy ones from the hard ones. So spend your time on the ones that are hard. And that's the end of this presentation. We will talk about some specific verbs and do practice with specific verbs later in the class. But now you have a little introduction to past tense verbs.